Once again, I'd like to thank you for coming tonight and welcome you to the 2012 Spring Sports Banquet. As I promised before, I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I'm going to leave that up to our coaches. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our coaches at this point. We'll start to my right here. We've got the head girls track coach, Brian Jett. He's popular. And then to his right is the assistant girls coach, Dustin Keeker. To his right, the lovely Mr. Russ Toombs, the head boys coach. To his right, the assistant boys track coach, Chris Thompson. To his right, our volunteer track coach, Mr. John Boyd. And one of our middle school coaches at the very end there is Mr. Chris Warner. And now the gentleman to my left, we've got our head golf coach, Mr. Paul Taylor. To his left, our head baseball coach, Mr. Mike McDaniel. And one of our assistant baseball coaches to his left at the end there, Mr. Mark Gibson. Tonight we're going to start with baseball. Coach Gibson is going to talk about both freshman and JV baseball. And then as soon as he's done, Mr. McDaniel will come up and talk about varsity baseball. So I will turn the mic over to them at this point.
Okay, first of all, Coach Banks was not able to attend tonight, so I'll be doing both the freshmen and the JV. The freshmen were available for the JV as well, so their record was 6-7, and the JV's record was 9-10 this year. And we really do not focus on records as much as we do trying to prepare them to play varsity baseball. And so when you're that close to a winning record, we consider that a successful season. And so this season was like the ones in the past, it was successful. And I think we saw some exciting games. We saw some promise in the players that played. And we also saw need for some improvement in summer baseball, and weightlifting is the way to get that done, and we've already discussed that with the players. So that said, I'm going to call the players up like I would call them if they were going to play the game by their last names. And so if you would you come up to the front and you will receive your awards for tonight. Vessel, Schweigert, Uding, just hold your applause to the end. McAlpin, Roth, Cole, and now these guys, some of them are freshmen, but these were the JV players as well. Stacy, Mueller, T. Meyer, B. Meyer, DeRoos, Billings, Stiegel, Hook, Fisher, and Bader. Now there are other players that played JV as well, but Coach is going to cover those whenever he gets up here. So I'd also like to say, while these guys are up here, that I had a good time. It was a lot of fun. A lot of times, if you've never been to a JV game, a lot of times it's a stressful situation for the kids, because I'm pretty good at embarrassing them when they don't do things right. And the reason why is because I don't want them to have that situation happen to them when they get to the varsity level. And so they're constantly having to think about the game of baseball, and that's my job. And so we have fun doing it, and I think they all respect each other, and I hope that they respect me as well, because I do respect them for their efforts this year. And before I have you give these guys a round of applause for their efforts this season, I would just like to say, for the managers, all of them, I don't get to address you But I just want to say that without the manager's help, it would be a very difficult row to hoe for the coaching staff. And they've done a great job this season too. So give these guys a round of applause. Good job.
All right, thank you, Coach. Just to get some thank yous out of the way here real quick, our administration and teachers for all the cooperation with the players being released early this year. I know baseball, probably even more so than track or any other sport, we have people being released during their 7th hour and sometimes their 6th hour class. And a lot of times they don't see those people very often or anything. So being able to keep up with their studies and keep on track with everything, it's very important for them to be able to do that. And I'm glad that our teachers have cooperated with them and allowed them to do that as well. Jeff Nix, this year was relatively easy for him with virtually no rainouts, although he still had to work to get through some things with scheduling freshman games and everything, which there are not many teams around this area that have freshman teams. So for him to work as hard as he can to try and get us 13 games, that's a pretty good success and everything for our program. To the sports boosters for this banquet and the things they do for all of our athletic programs, without them we wouldn't be able to have a lot of the things that we have. Mike Boyd for his coverage in the Herald, Greg Allen, the rest of the sports guys at KFMO, all the people at KTJJ, KBDZ, KSGM, Daily Journal, Frank Kirchmer at Prepcast for everything they do for us throughout the year. All the parents for supporting their sons and daughters throughout this season. Without you guys, we wouldn't have anything that we have right now. To all the parents for, the Yanks organization for all that they do with concession stand and the field. All the past players for their continued support of the Dragons program. My parents for all of their positive support. They're always at every game, and if one of them can't be, the one that is there is on the cell phone talking to the other one or leaving a message at their house. I remember going to their house one night after a game, and the machine was beeping, and I wondered what it was, and my mom left about a 5-minute message on a report of the game because my dad wasn't even at home yet. So they said they're constantly, supporting myself, and not just me, but they like coming out to the ballpark and seeing all the kids, and you'll see them at other events as well. Pam Billings and Connie Bowman for all the pictures that they take at the games. The pics are great, and the kids really love them, and I think that it allows for a lot of Facebook sharing as well. Some of them are kind of interesting to see, too. My 2 assistant coaches for all of their hard work and dedication. It's said that it's the people that make the place. And I have to admit that coming out to the ballpark with these gentlemen and then also talking to them outside of work makes it all worth the while. Coach Banks does a tremendous job. I know he can't be here tonight, being positive with the players, and he carries his technology background into that. We've set up things on a website, even quizzing the players, trying to increase their knowledge on the game of baseball. Coach Gibson does an outstanding job of bringing his 30-plus years of experience to the dugout, and I want to say it's probably close to 40 or 50, actually. I was trying to be conservative. He relates to the players well after those 50 years. Serves basically as my liaison to the players in the high school since I'm in the middle school, and he brings an entirely different perspective to the field every day. I'm sure the players enjoy his analogies a lot of the time whenever he relates them to animals or times of war, since he was a military guy. All joking aside, though, these 2 guys are a fantastic compliment to myself and the entire Dragons baseball team. I'm truly blessed to have them. On to our season. Everyone affiliated with the baseball team this year probably feels the same way. A little bit of frustration. However, when you truly look at the game of baseball, it's a very humbling game. An inch here or there can make the difference between a strike or a ball, fair or foul, hit or an out. The list goes on. A Hall of Fame hitter is only successful 3 out of 10 times, meaning he fails 70% of the time. Consistency is definitely the name of the game. And it's the one thing that we really just didn't truly have all through the year this year. But we were in every game and fought all the way to the end in each of those. We finished 3rd in the large school division for our conference. We received 5th place in the MAAA conference tournament, and we were semifinalists in the district tournament, losing to eventual champion Kennett, which just found out ended up beating Park Hills, I believe in the semifinals there. Semifinals 4-2. So, I mean, if you are going to lose, it's nice to know that you lost to one of the best teams in the state. And I think you'll ask any of our guys if they thought they should be in that game today. And I know that it was a resounding yes for all of them. Our season record was 13-10, and on paper, we looked like a force to be dealt with. Our team batting average on the year was .339, which is outstanding, and had a team earned run average from our pitchers of around 3.0, only giving up 3 runs a game, which is amazing. My major concern this season was, would we be able to have the pitching to get us through? And the thing is it ended up being one of our strong points. I knew we could hit, and our pitchers really took the bull by the horns and gave us a chance to win every time they towed it up on the mound. The main thing we didn't do very well this season was hitting with runners in scoring position. It made me feel a little better talking to other coaches around the area and finding out that they had similar stories with their season as well. Baseball truly is a funny game, and it couldn't be more evident than when you look at our game against Park Hills, whenever their pitcher, a little bitty lefty that didn't throw very hard, struck out 16 of our batters. Then you turn around and you play a game against St. Pius against pitchers that weren't much better, and we scored 24 runs against them. Said baseball is a very funny game. We even sent some of our guys up to the plate that game, batting left-handed. And I will say that some of them that we thought would at least look pretty athletic doing it, Jacob Rowe, I'm going to have you come up and demonstrate your left-handed swing in a little while. And to tell you the truth, a couple other ones, when they were on the on-deck circle, I was like, man, I think they have a better left-handed swing than they have a right-handed swing. But as soon as that ball got delivered and they swung, it looked like a top just spinning into the ground. It looked terrible. It's a very simple game, but it can be frustrating, a lot like golf. Some days you hit everything onto the fairway, your short game's going great, the putts are going in. The next day, you're in just about every hazard that's on the course. And that's basically kind of the way that it was this year with us sometimes. Overall, I cannot be too displeased, though, with how these guys played this year. I cannot question their effort or their love for the game or the dedication they put in and day out. There are some of the most dedicated guys in the weight room and in the cage that you'll ever meet. And by the way, they're not as funny, they're not as attractive as what they think they are. Because when they get in the weight room, they have mirrors in there, and some of the poses I've seen, they think they're some of the hottest guys on the planet. And I'm also sure that whenever I introduce them here in just a moment, you'll see that some of them need haircuts. Anyway, here is your 2012 Dragons baseball team. First, a guy that was very instrumental to the JV and freshman teams this year, but I decided to give him a provisional letter. I thought that, he comes from a baseball family. He's very dedicated to, everything that our program involves. He got to pitch one game on the varsity level. His name is Drew Schmelsley, freshman. Whenever Drew got out on the mound for that game, I thought he was the most confident guy in the world. He didn't look like he was shaking, nothing bothered him. He got up there and he was pumping strikes in his warm-ups and everything. And it was about a couple weeks later we brought that game up. He said, Coach, I was so nervous. But you couldn't tell. But like I said, it's one of the things because of that, or one of the reasons why he didn't seem that nervous, because he's been in positions like that before with a lot of our kids playing summer baseball and playing 40 to 50 games. They're used to being thrust into situations like that. Our sophomores, first, Dennis Fleeg. Dennis on the year had 3 at-bats on the varsity level, batted .667. I think he's pretty proud of that. Dennis transitioned whenever he came to us as a freshman from, kind of being a catcher infielder to an outfielder. His quickness and everything has allowed him to make a smooth transition. He's still getting used to the position a little bit more, but we look for a lot of good things to come from Dennis and everything with his speed. And I think that his hitting has increased, he's increased his hitting ability this year. So hopefully next year he can give a little bit more for us. Next, sophomore, Logan Geck. Logan's a big kid, and I hope he continues to keep playing baseball and everything. He's got a lot of potential. He played a lot more on the JV than the varsity this year, although on the varsity level, he should be pretty proud. He has a 1,000 batting average because he was 2 for 2. But I think one of the highlights that came this year wasn't necessarily even in a varsity game. It came on a Saturday morning in a JV tournament, and I think, was the wind blowing out 50 miles an hour? It was only 45. Oh, it was 100 miles an hour. Logan hit his first home run. Congratulations, Logan. Bad thing about it is the home run that he hit didn't go nearly as far as the triple or a double I think that he hit in the right center field gap. So in order for Logan to get around all the bases, he had to hit it over the fence. But Logan's another guy, came to a lot of open gyms this year, is pretty dedicated in the weight room, and I think toward the end of the season, I think he left himself feeling much better than what he left himself feeling at the end of last season. I think he was starting to come around as a hitter, and defensively starting to get better, so I look forward to good things to come from Logan as well. Next sophomore, Jacob Kemper. Jacob's another guy who's getting a provisional letter along with Dennis, Drew, and Logan here. Jacob probably didn't play nearly as much in the varsity level as what he wanted to, but was very key in playing a lot of different positions on the JV level. One thing that he did play on the JV level is third base as the very last game, which I'm not sure if he's ever really played third base before. A lot of times he plays second or maybe even shortstop. Well, whenever he played on that JV game against Festus, he got a couple pretty hot shots hit at him, and one of them actually hit his knee. It was pretty hard. But, he fired perfect strikes right over to first base. And we got thinking, Jacob, how is it you fire perfect strikes throwing the ball farther from third to first than you do whenever the ball's hit to you at second base and that throw is like half the distance? He says, I don't have to think about it, Coach. And I think that that's the one thing that if Jacob is to improve on anything and really to help us out on that varsity level is to just play the game. Just let it come to him, because when he does an excellent job. Our next sophomore, Aaron Stupi. What can you say about Stupi besides he takes the most abuse probably of anybody on the entire team? And I don't mean by, guys hitting him or anything like that, but gosh darn it, the guy gets beat up during a game. This year I think he got bowled over one time. I don't know if he got knocked unconscious or what the deal was, but he lay on the ground for a little bit. The other team tried saying that the opposing team did not hit him on purpose. Well, I'm pretty sure whenever you lower your shoulder and you try to bowl over a guy, you did it on purpose. But Aaron, being the trooper that he is, got right back up after sitting there for a few minutes and figuring out what day of the week it was. But, Aaron is one of the kids, too, is probably one of the more dedicated guys in our program, comes to almost any open gym that we have, works in the weight room and everything. And, while Aaron may not have necessarily the talent as what some of the other guys have, he works equally, if not harder than everybody else to get the most out of his body that he possibly can. And Aaron is definitely going to be a guy that helps us out in the future. All right, on to our juniors. First, Andrew Suter. Another guy that needs a haircut. Andrew is probably one of the most caring individuals on our team. I don't know what it was, but they told me that I had to say he was a caring guy. I think he got some sort of student of the quarter, is that what it was? For being caring. Now, I don't know if they're talking about being caring toward others or the earrings he puts in his ears, because he does not leave home without those things. He may not bring his homework to school, but he'll have those earrings in, though. Andrew's been a starter on the varsity level since his freshman year. Andrew's made a lot of good strides and been one of our pretty consistent players and everything, too. Played shortstop for us, pitched quite a bit for us this year as well. He was honored by the other coaches in the MAAA conference with second team honors. Andrew, like I said, goes out, does a great job. He has a knack for the game of baseball. He's another one of our juniors that has played a lot of baseball over the last several years. Like I said, he's done a dynamite job this year, and I look forward to him getting back in the weight room, not looking at his phone to see what text messages he has in between sets of bench press. But like I said, I'm looking for a lot of good things to come from Andrew next year as well. Andrew Suter. Our next junior, Nick Vate. Nick's one of the hardest working guys that we have on our team as well. When you look at him, you think, well, does he run cross country? Is he a skinny Ethiopian guy from Africa? But the fact of the matter is Nick gets in the weight room, and sometimes whenever he's in there and he's lifting weights, you think that bar is going to rip his arms off because it's heavier than what he is. But Nick's the kind of guy that he looks at a challenge, he heads it off, or takes it on head on. all right, and doesn't back down. And I think that's evident the way he plays the game, too. I know this season he started the year, on the field, and, it wasn't necessarily, I think, what he thought it was. He said, hey, Coach, I lost my starting spot. No, he didn't lose your starting spot. It's just the way the lineup works every now and then. But at that point, too, he was also like, Coach, can you hit me a few more fly balls? Coach, can we take some more cuts in the cage? Whatever it is. And I think that speaks volumes for a guy like Nick that, and I'll say it, Nick, you may not be as talented as some of the other ones, but you have worked hard, just like Aaron over there, to get the absolute most out of your body. And I look forward to some great things to come from you as well for next year. Congratulations on a good season. Our next junior was Bryn Hook, who's not here this evening. Next, Jacob Rowe. Jacob is responsible for some of the oddest cheers in the dugout. Sometimes I don't know. I mean, sometimes he's in my ear, and I'm kind of like, golly, Jacob, would you stop just a little bit? But you know what? He, along with these other guys that have played ball for so long, they know each other inside and out. And at one game, I remember Connie Bowen was sitting over there down at Cape Girardeau, and Jacob wasn't saying anything, and she basically made a comment to him about, come on, Jacob, let's hear something. And all of a sudden, there he goes, nonstop the rest of the game. But, Jacob is one of the guys, too, that I feel like I fail to mention sometimes about how appreciated he is. I don't think that I compliment him enough. I think I'm pretty rough on some of our guys, too, because I do expect a lot out of them, especially our catchers. And Jacob, for the longest time, has played catcher just about his entire life, and he does a pretty dang good job back there. And I think one thing that he thinks that I don't think he can do is hit. Jacob can. Last year he batted nearly 375. He had over a 300 average this year, and a lot of it boils down to, like he said, his work ethic. And he's a much needed spirit guy that we need in the dugout. And I said, I'm looking forward. I think that Jacob wasn't as, pleased with his performance this year, but I know that he's wanting to have a dynamite senior year just like the rest of these guys, and he's going to do what he has to do to make it work for next year. That's Jacob Rowe. Next, Danny Lurk. All I have to say is to his parents, if you guys could get him a watch, I would really appreciate that. We were supposed to get out of school one day, I think at 2:45. Danny got out at 2:15 and was sitting out at Dick's gas station the entire time wondering where everybody was. But the thing about it is, I think during the day, he even mentioned some of the other guys about, hey, we get out at this time, right? And I'm like, yeah. So these guys didn't necessarily do him a favor, but he was sitting out at Dick's parking lot for a good 30 to 45 minutes waiting on the bus to get there. Danny's one of the guys, too, that, he didn't play a lot of the summer traveling baseball or anything. He came out his sophomore year, basically even a year later than some of the other ones that started as freshmen in high school, and he's a guy that has picked it up from day one and had his ears ready to go and to listen to what it is that he needs to do to get the job done. He stepped up big for us last year as a sophomore, and this year as a junior, it was hard to take him off of third base, because if you're going to have a guy that's going to step in front of the ball in third, Danny's your guy. If you look at his nose, you'll see why. But, Danny and everything, too, is tried to do what some of these other guys have done as well. He wasn't very good at hitting last year, and hitting on the varsity level is a lot different than hitting whenever you're smaller, and even on the JV level, whenever you get these guys that have curveballs, sliders, changes, fastballs, all this sort of thing. And Danny worked hard in the cage to try and combat that. And for this year, too, Danny had over a 300 average, so that was a nice job on Danny's part. Danny Lurk. Next, Lucas Palmer. I think I witnessed a lot more effort out of Lucas this year to make himself a better ball player. Last year, he got a little bit of a taste of the varsity level. We needed a guy just to throw him in at a certain spot over at first, and he excelled at it. His very first game against Valley, a big game, a lot of people there and everything, and all of a sudden we realized, hey, we can trust this guy playing over at first base over there whenever we have somebody that's pitching, or heck, to even compete for a starting position. And I'd say for about half or three-fourths of the year, Lucas did a nice job of being over on first base. And I know he's not as satisfied with his hitting. I know that. And I know it's been a frustration of his. But what he doesn't do is he does not let that deter him from coming to open gyms and trying to work to get better. And I think that if Lucas keeps working like he did this past year, even in the weight room, my goodness, this guy got to be a beast. I think he was one of the ones that liked to pose in front of the mirrors. Unless those were drawn on abs, I'm not sure. I think he was auditioning for a role in the new 300 movie. Is the spray on? But Lucas, like I said, has done a nice job in transitioning to the varsity level, did a nice job this year, and once again, look forward to great things for him next year as well. Our next junior, Al Gunter. And look at this good-looking tall glass of cool water coming down the aisle. He needs a haircut as well. Oh, he's got earrings too. My goodness. I think this is the softball team? Man. I think Al came into his own this year. He's starting to hone his skills a lot more. He's got a perfect build for a baseball player, especially on the mound. I know he didn't necessarily pitch as much as what we would have liked for him to, and probably as much as he would have. But, this year I thought he started out the season with a bang, hitting a home run against Jackson, doing an excellent job. When you see this guy swing the bat too, you'd know why whenever he was coming into high school that he had, I think it was a fractured vertebrae. Well, it was a fracture in his back somewhere. Same difference there. But you know that he puts a lot of force and everything into his swing. And he's started to hone his skills a little bit better, and he actually hits the ball now rather than swing through all those balls now. All right, putting less maybe stress on his back. But Al, earned a starting spot, with several games this year depending on our lineup. And like I said, we expect a lot of great things from Al to come in the future too. Al Gunter. And not last junior. Brock Kreitler, our next junior. I think the kids, give him a lot of grief about being one of our slower guys, and I think that it's because of the wind resistance of his hair. But the truth is, he's led us in extra base hits the last 2 seasons. Somebody could say, well, that's just because he hits the ball farther. Maybe that's why he gets to third base or second base. But the fact of the matter is, he's also another guy that's been working hard in the weight room and been working hard to make himself better. A lot of good things. I'll talk about Brock in a little bit, with some things too. He was honored by the MAAA All-Conference team this year with first-team honors. He was also awarded the honor just recently of KREI, KTJJ Dream Team, which is a pretty distinct honor where they only name 10 people to the team, and there's probably 25 to 30 schools that have people that honor. So Brock, like I said, has been very instrumental in starting for us basically halfway through his freshman year and being the middle part of our lineup. Brock Kreitler. Our last junior, Adam Schwint. And I am totally digging the Argyle sweater. The only thing better is if you had some Argyle socks. This right here is a deer in human form. If you have never seen Adam run, it looks exactly like a deer running through the woods. And I'm thankful, so thankful, and I know the track coaches aren't going to want me to say this, that he plays baseball, because he would definitely be somebody that people would salivate over, and I know he would help a track program. But the one thing about Adam, he's another one that didn't necessarily play competitive baseball before entering high school, and he's another one that's had his ears open the entire time and listened to what he can do to make himself better, and is very evident this year. From last year, whenever we, even in JV games, he would struggle to hit the ball and would have to DH for him. And even wondering this year in our lineup, gosh, where's our weakest link at? And thinking, you know what, we're probably going to have to DH for Adam this year. By the end of the season, actually not even the end of the season, pretty much the entire season, we realized pretty soon, my gosh, the kid can hit. And one thing I think that caught a lot of people by surprise too, a lot of times when you do a sacrifice bunt, you're sacrificing yourself for the betterment of the team, and most of the time that sack guy ends up getting out in the first place. Well, his sack bunts ended up turning into hits. So even though he's trying to sacrifice himself, he actually got to be on base, and, well, heck, it improved his average. But Adam's another guy that came into open gyms. You can see he works hard in the weight room and everything, and Adam has probably been our most improved player from day one that he's come into the program. Adam Schwint. All right, our managers. I'm going to call all of them up, please. Megan Klein, Katie Palmer, Megan Giesler, Kaylee Arnold, and Taylor Hudson. I know, I'm getting the seniors in a minute. Brock and them were informing me that I forgot some guys. The seniors. Seniors, I didn't forget about you, all right? You're going after the managers, sorry. We do have some gifts and everything for our managers. Maybe Coach Gibson will get those. I think Coach will look very pretty with them. As you can see, these ladies right here dress nice, and let's just put it this way, they're distracting maybe to the other team at times. Especially one that they just tend to send to the other side of the field to deliver the pregame lineup. One of them, I'm not going to mention their name or anything, I think did not have a boyfriend. So in other words, yes, she was distracting them, but she was also scouting as well. And I don't mean whether or not they were a home run hitter or if they were just like a singles guy, all right? But needless to say, these ladies, they put up with us. They put up with these players and everything. You know, Megan here didn't necessarily start out with the manager with us this year. She had some other commitments. But, you know, she stepped up, too, because these ladies are involved in dance. So they have other things that they have to do in addition to our managerial responsibilities. And Megan stepped up, and they said, for any time these girls were not there. And they said, I can't say enough about the job that they do. They're there night in, night out, whenever it's 40 degrees in practice or it's, 90 degrees, whatever it is. These ladies do an outstanding job, and I hope all of them decide to come back next year because they will definitely be needed. These are our managers. All right, now our seniors, Derek Brown, Dustin Rainey, and Tyler Grimminger. Okay, this is Derek Brown that's coming up. You know, I had this addressed to all of the seniors and everything, but since Derek is our only senior, I'll address it to him. If you want to look deep into my eyes, Derek. Okay, that's just weird. I work with you every day during the summer. All right, I can't thank our seniors enough for all of their hard work over the past 4 seasons. You know, they may not have been true vocal leaders like coaches maybe want sometimes, but I think the example that they put forth will be missed, and there will be 3 big pairs of shoes to fill for next season. You will always be part of the Dragons baseball family, and welcome to the ballpark anywhere we go. I not only call you my ex-players, but my friends as well. I wish them nothing but the best of luck in all their future endeavors, and hope they make as much out of the rest of their lives as what they have done so far in life. Their parents are to be commended in raising such fine young men. We may not have always seen eye to eye, but hey, that's life. It'd be boring if we did. But out of it all, I've developed a level of respect for you, as I hope you have for me. I thank you from the bottom of my heart to my seniors. In closing, I hope these returning players remember the season and use it as a motivation for their senior year. There's a lot of talent standing before you tonight, but my message to them is the same as it has been every year. Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. Keep working hard and the results will come. We as coaches want them to go out this summer and look to make things happen instead of waiting for them to come their way. They have all the necessary tools, and with a lot of continued hard work, we know they'll make even bigger strides this summer, and we look forward to school ball next year. Your St. Genevieve Dragons baseball team. All right, we do have some postseason awards to give out right now. See, I told you it's fast. All right, this year we have 5 different awards here. Our first one we're going to give away is our RBI award for the most runs batted in. Wow. The most runs batted in that we had this year, we had a tie. All right, and I wouldn't expect it to be any other player besides the 2 guys that we have right up the middle of our lineup, or right up the middle of the field, our second baseman and shortstop. Those 2 guys with 17 RBIs apiece are Andrew Suter and Brock Kreitler. Next, this particular award is given away for a guy that we feel that basically isn't afraid to get dirty. He's basically willing to do anything for the team. We call it the Dirty Uniform Award. And this particular person, at the beginning of the year, he was an outfielder, and Jacob went down as far as catching because of an injury to his arm, and we asked him, hey, can you catch for us? Which that's a very pivotal position in baseball. And being a senior, he said, Coach, I'll do anything to help the team. And within 2 days of just blocking balls and everything else, turned into a pretty fine catcher. All right, and that was senior Tyler Grimminger. Our award for the highest average on the team this year. Once again, a guy that we thought about DHing for just about the entire year, all right, but ended up proving us completely wrong, and I'm glad that he did. Our average this year, this guy was 29 for 61. He had a .568 on base percentage. He scored 23 runs on his own, stole 11 bases, walked 11 times. All right, his average was .475. This gentleman was Adam Schwinn. We have another award, Outstanding Pitcher. This year, our Outstanding Pitcher, and I apologize that the award is not here. There was a little bit of a mistake on the printing, so you will be getting it at a later time, I promise. But this year, this particular gentleman had the most innings pitched for us with nearly 40 innings, striking out almost 1 per inning. Even though his record was a losing record with 2-3, you know, he had an ERA of 2.33. Opponents only batted .250 against him, and the last game that he pitched this year was a gem down in Cape Girardeau against Scott City to give us a chance to go into the district semifinal game. That gentleman is Andrew Suter. I know his dad is very thankful that whenever he plays baseball, that's at least a couple hours during the day, he does have to take his earrings out. All right, and our last award for this evening, this is our Most Valuable Player Award. And this is a guy, this year his stats included 31 hits and 72 at-bats, a .469 on-base percentage, scored 14 runs, led us in extra base hits, batted .431, and once again has been an instrumental guy to our lineup on the field and up at the plate. It's KREI, KTJJ Dream Team member, all-conference member the last 2 years. That would be Brock Kreitler. All right, thank you very much.
You know, open that now or later? Well, he'll wait. Okay. All right, thank you, baseball coaches and players. And speaking of thank yous, how about a nice round of applause for Cheryl Wolk and the kitchen staff for the fantastic meal. I'd also like to give a big round of applause to our all sports boosters for sponsoring the banquet tonight. I often mention that these are the most unappreciated people, and not because you don't appreciate them, they're just kind of behind the scenes. They do a lot of work at meetings, the banquets, working in the concessions, and it's all with no compensation. So we appreciate all the sports booster officers and also the volunteer booster members who work the concessions and help prepare for banquets and things like that. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to turn the microphone over to our golf coach, Mr. Paul Taylor. So Paul, coming up.
Good evening. I would like to thank Jeff for all his help, golf schedule, Chris Haney, Mindy Dallas, the parents, St. Genevieve County Country Club, Dale especially. He works with us tirelessly to get us on the course and to keep us out of the members' way, and so that he doesn't have too many headaches. The media and my wife. Every evening after school I get to go out to the golf course and play golf with kids, and she's at home with 3 little ones fixing supper and getting baths, so I really appreciate what she does. She got me back today though. She sent me on a field trip with 30 preschool kids to the conservation center, and I'll be thanking her for a while for that one. We had a really successful season. Last year we were 4-10. This year we ended up with a 12-2 record. We were 10-2 in the conference. We were 10-2 in the conference this year, and that's up from 4-7 last year. I'm going to start with JV tournaments. We went to Palos Par 3 golf course this year and played a JV tournament. We had a team score of 347. Keep in mind, we usually take 5 kids to a tournament, and we count the four lowest scores. So I'll give you the winner and what they scored as a comparison. We scored a 347. We got 6th place out of 8 teams, and the winner was North County with a 293. We go to Perryville and play a 9-hole tournament with our JV. The low score was Poplar Bluff with a 164. We shot a 208, which was 5th place out of 10 teams. And then finally, JV ended up going to Windsor for an 18-hole golf tournament at Union Hills Golf Course. And we shot a team score of 366. The winner was Sullivan with a 326, and we got 3rd place out of 10 teams. So JV continuously improved throughout the year. When I call your name, come up, JV. Ryan Kemper. Ryan is a first-year sophomore. If any of you have taken up golf or went out to play golf occasionally, you know that it can be a struggle at times. Ryan has the athletic ability. If he'll get some focus, he'll be able to contribute next year. We had a pretty strong varsity this year, so moving up from JV to varsity next year, we're only losing really 1 from the varsity level, so it's going to be pretty competitive next year, and Ryan will have to work hard in the off-season to make that switch. Weston Klein. Weston is a 2nd-year sophomore. This year he has had tremendously improved focus. If he commits to golf in the off-season, he will have a chance at the varsity level as well. He started out with a freshman average of 64, and this year he had an average of 55, so he improved his average 9 strokes from his freshman year to his sophomore year. Paige Smelsley. Paige competed on the varsity level last year some. With the competition that we had this year, she moved down to JV. She's got a great work ethic. Hit the snot out of the ball at the beginning of the year, and then it went south for a little bit. She got it back at the end. Improved consistency. I know she'll play some this summer, but she's also got volleyball. It just depends on what she wants to do. Improved consistency this summer will allow her to also compete at the varsity level. Just a side note, we had 2 girls on the team this year. Girls have to hit from the boys' tee box, so they don't get any distance advantage at all. Girls' season is in the fall, so if you don't have a girls' golf team, they have to play by the boys' rule, so they're at a significant disadvantage. Paige's freshman average was a 63. Her sophomore average was a 56. And she lowered that 2 strokes this year down to a 54. Sam Schwent. Sam is a first-year sophomore. I saw improvement in Sam throughout the year. Sam's rather quiet. He'll open up, I'm sure, this coming year. But he does work hard, hits the ball solidly. He had a sophomore average of 54. Varsity tournaments. We start off at the varsity level at the Notre Dame Invitational. It's a pretty stacked tournament. Poplar Bluff comes up, they're always tough. Sykeston comes up, they're always tough. Poplar Bluff won this year with a 306. We shot a 402, so almost 100 strokes worse than them, just to show you how good they are. We still got 9th place out of 12 teams. We held our 2nd annual Valley St. Gen tournament at St. Genevieve Country Club. We ended up with 3rd place, shot a team score of 375, which is 6 strokes off the lead, which was Perryville with a 369. We then go to Jackson, also a stacked tournament. Really, really good teams at Jackson. Poplar Bluff once again shot a 306. We got 9th place out of the 12 teams with a 374. North County tournament at Terre de Lac and Bonne Terre. We shot a team score of 377 for 4th place, which was 5 strokes off the lead behind Arcadia Valley with a 372. Districts this year was at Crown Point in Farmington. I don't know if anybody's played at Crown Point this year, but it's really, really tough. If you don't hit it in the fairway, you're lucky to find it, and then if you find it, you're lucky to get it back out to the fairway. It really played tough this year. We shot a 410 team score. First place was Notre Dame with a 330. We qualified 2 people for sectionals. Kristen Meyer with a 99 and Clayton Gilo with a 101. So they went on to the sectional tournament, which was a week later at Franklin County Country Club in Washington, Missouri. They both shot a 102. Cut off to go to state was an 87. We ended our season with a conference tournament hosted by West County at Terre de Lac and Bonne Terre. We shot a team score of 367, which was our best of the year. We got 4th place out of 10 teams. The winner was North County with a 349. Okay, individually. Our goal this year was to get a team score in matches of below 180. That's dropped 20 strokes from the year before. Last year, our goal was 200. Just to put this in perspective, it's a par 36. We only play 9 holes in a match, so it's a par 36. So we try to play bogey golf. And if we play bogey golf, that's a 45 for each golfer. If you turn in 4 scores of 45, it's a 180. If we shoot a 180, we win almost every match. So that was our goal for the year. We had 1 single match, 2 try matches, and 3 quad matches. Of these, we reached our goal 4 times out of the 6. We shot a high of 190, which is just 10 strokes over our goal. And then the other time we didn't make our goal, we shot a 181, so just 1 stroke over our goal. We had a season high of 190. The previous year we had a season high of 223. And in our last match of the season, we scored a season low of 175. This was a very successful season. Zach Dowdy. Zach is a 2nd-year junior. As a sophomore, he averaged 58. He dropped his average this year to 50, 8 strokes. Zach's a hard worker, and with some swing adjustments this summer, trying to get out of the softball swing, he's going to be a leader for us next year. Clayton Gilo. Clayton is a 3rd-year junior. He's a quiet leader and a very hard worker. His freshman average was a 52, sophomore average was a 51, and this year he averaged a 49. Clayton qualified for the sectional tournament, first time in several years since I've been coached. Sectional tournament's only been in existence for 2 years. It started last year, but it's the first time in the 7 years that I've been coached we've had somebody get out of district. So great achievement for Clayton. Brandon Mueller. Brandon is a 3rd-year junior. He's a hard worker. He has a very positive attitude. He had a freshman average of 56, sophomore average of 54, and he dropped his average to a 49 this year. He's going to play a lot this summer so that he can get consistent and be competing for the top spot next year, right, Brandon? Kyle Roth. Kyle's a 3rd-year junior. He was out the entire last year with a broken arm. He made a successful return this season. He was our lowest average scorer on the year, and he was very consistent. He just added a driver to his bag, our last tournament of the year. So he was hitting with, what was it, a 3-wood? It was a 1-wood, and I don't know if you're familiar with the old woods. They're about that big, and the new drivers are about that big. So Kyle added that to his bag, and he's going to work on that this summer so that he can help us next year. His freshman average was a 51. His sophomore average, he didn't have one. He was out the entire year with an injury. And his junior average was a 47. Matt, is Matt Turek here? Okay. We have all 3 of our seniors are gone on a trip to Florida for a senior trip, so they weren't able to make it tonight. Medals. Most improved golfer. This guy has shown significant improvement. He's constantly trying to make adjustments to his swing, adjustments so that he can hit the ball more solidly. Very hard worker. He lowered his average by 8 strokes this year, Zach Dowdy. Lowest average of the year. Glad to have you back, Kyle. 46.5 stroke average this year. That's just 1 over bogey golf. Kyle had several rounds under the 45 goal that we set. So congratulations, Kyle. I'm going to give this one out even though she's not here. Kristen also qualified. Kristen Meyer also qualified for the sectional tournament. I think the first girl ever to get out of St. Gen on the boys team and make it past districts. The kids vote on the Spirit of the Game Award, and that's just a general attitude, showing up to the course, ready to work, positive attitude, team leader. She had a little struggle at the beginning of the year, but got happy about being at the golf course, got happy about playing golf again, and showed up with a positive attitude. This is the 4th year in a row she received the Spirit of the Game Award, which is team voted. And finally, the most valuable golfer, also team voted. Quiet, consistent leader, hard worker, leads by example. Going to quit pouting when he hits a bad shot next year and really going to make a big contribution to our team. Clayton Gilo, 2nd year in a row. I'm sure every coach here feels like the kids on their team are the best kids around, and I'm no exception. It's really a joy to go out to the course and to see these kids out there working, to see them joking around, to see them interacting with one another, having fun. And on top of all that, they work hard. I really enjoy what I do, and I really enjoy the kids on my team. Congratulations for a great year.
Looks like a gift. You gonna open it now or later? No? No, okay. Looks nice, whatever it is. Try not to hit anybody with it, Coach. Okay, thank you, Coach Taylor and golfers. Coach Taylor mentioned that all the coaches probably feel like like they have the best kids, and I often hear our coaches say that how great it is to work with the group of kids that they have, and they're usually when they say that, I can agree with them, because we do have some of the best, not only behaved kids, but the most fun kids to be around. They're just fantastic kids. You know, it's funny when you talk to athletic directors or coaches or teachers at other schools and they talk about the problems that they have, and not that we're perfect and not that we don't ever have issues with anybody, but when you talk to these people from other schools, and it sounds like it happens a lot more often than it does here, and that makes sense because we do have great kids, and we thank you for that, and it makes the life of the coaches and the teachers and the administrators a lot easier because of how great you guys are. I'm going to go ahead and turn the microphone over now to our girls track coach. Coach Jett's going to do all the talking for the girls track, so come on up, Coach Jett.
Thank you. I hope you weren't hoping for another articulate speaker, but because you didn't get one. I would echo Coach Nixon's sentiments about our athletes, our young athletes. Talk to coaches throughout the area, and I hear them complaining that they can't get their kids' grades up, or they can't get them to work hard in practice, or a plethora of other excuses, but we just don't have that here. I would like to comment that most of these athletes are tremendous students as well as dedicated athletes, and I really thank them for that. That being said, I'll move on to some thank yous. This year we hosted 11 home meets, which may or may not seem significant to you. But let me fill you in about hosting a home meet. Each home meet requires a number of helpers. We typically need 6 adults for field events, and those adults need to be knowledgeable about that event. We can't just throw anybody in there. We need to have an announcer. If it's an invitational, we need to have somebody up in the press box to put the medals in envelopes. And if you've been involved in track and you've gone to away meets, invariably you come back with fewer medals or more medals than what you're supposed to have. I like to pride ourselves, and we don't have that problem. We need to have an adult in the bullpen. This year that adult was Mr. Chris Werner. We need to have 4 to 5 adults at the finish line. On top of these adults, we have athlete helpers. Each field event requires at least 2 helpers. The bullpen needs helpers. The finish line needs helpers. So hosting a track meet, especially an invitational, is a pretty large undertaking. My list of thank yous is also pretty long. First, I want to thank the sports boosters and the parents who worked in the concession stands. I'd like to thank Julie Fleeg, graduate Clayton Cox, Allie Klein, Tyne Schwent, Jerry Diesel, Donna Hook, who announced for us most of the season, Linda Allen, Nikki Reed, Steve Zusman, Al Engelman, Troy Dallas, Evan Weiler, Emily Callanan, Brock Meyer, David Broyles, Liz Hook, Jordan Upchurch, Mr. John Boyd Sr., Jenna Boyd, Shelley Dallas, and Tracy Newman. Those people all helped out when we hosted home meets. I'd also like to thank Mid-America Rehab when we had invitationals, and this past weekend, the sectional meet. They were at those meets, specifically Enriqueta and her crew. I'd also like to thank our tech department, Nancy Toombs, Janet Swent, and Jason Bowman. They ran our timing system. I'd like to thank the Herald, KSGM, Sun-Times News, and Channel 7. I'd like to thank our volunteer coach, Mr. John Boyd, for his time and his effort and his dedication. He didn't miss a practice. He runs with the kids every morning. He does most of the workouts with them, whether he's pulling them along on repeats or whatever the case may be. He has kind of breathed new life into our program. I'd like to thank our middle school coaches, Jordana Walk and Chris Werner. I'd also like to thank Chris and John for their efforts on Sundays for the long runs. They meet out in Bloomsdale, and they do a long run every Sunday morning with a number of our athletes. I'd like to thank the high school coaches, Coach Keeker, Coach Thompson, and my right-hand man, Mr. Russ Toombs. I'd also like to thank our athletic director. Countless hours and lots of work goes into these meets, and Mr. Nix has been a great help for that. He's a pleasure to work with, easy to talk to. We couldn't do it without him. Last and not least, I'd like to thank my wife for her help and understanding. She becomes a track widow, usually the last weekend in February, and by this week, she's ready to make me she'd be a real widow. Okay, I'm going to skip over our team's accomplishments. We were pretty young this year. You saw that most of our success was on the JV side, so I'm going to get right to the athletes. Before I start that, a little bit about the way our program runs. Typically, I work with all the distance runners, middle school, through high school, boys and girls. Coach Toombs, he works with the sprinters, the relay teams, horizontal jumps. Coach Keeker, he works with the sprinters and the vertical jumps, pole vault specifically. Coach Thompson's our throws coach. Coach Boyd helps out with the distance runners. Coach Warner, he's a handyman wherever we need him, whether it be the sprints or the distance. Jordana Walk helps out with the high jump. And again, she's one of those coaches that we can put just about any place and help out with the numbers that we have. Okay, first athlete, freshman Misty Adams. Sophomore Beth Bosler. Beth, you can just stay up here so I can hide behind you. Beth, she's part of the throwers group this season. Her best were a 19'4" in the shot and 55'4" in the discus. Sophomore Claire Bosler. You'll hear me talk a lot about work ethic because it's important to success in athletics. Claire is a tremendous worker. She ran everything from the 100-meter dash this year to the 2-mile. We needed a 2-miler for I forget which meet it was, but I asked for volunteers and her hand went up. And that's not an easy thing to do, especially if you've never done it. And she was brave enough to give it a try. She was on a lot of the relays. I think her strongest event's the 400, but I know her loves the pole vault. Her work ethic and her attitude make her a valuable member of our team. Freshman Jessica Boyer. Jess is a promising young hurdler and a triple jumper. She posted season best of 18.6 in 100-meter hurdles and a triple jump of 30 feet, 8 1/4 inch. Freshman Elizabeth Brown. She's a young thrower who had a personal best of 27.6 in the shot, 86.6 in the disc. If she gets serious about throwing, she could be one of the top throwers in the area. Junior Erica Burney. This hard-working young lady is one of the few girls I saw in the weight room before school this season, and I complimented her on that. Erica, like many on the team, has a great work ethic. Her event of choice is the discus, and her season's best is 83.3. Junior, Brianna Crump. AKA Junebug. Her favorite event's the pole vault. This season her top vault was 6'6". Brianna's a top-notch young lady. She gives her best every day. She helps us when she's called upon. And she's a pleasure to be around and coach. Junior Danielle Dowdy. Danielle tried her hands at the sprints, the hurdles, the throws, but I think she was mainly involved to be part of the team and to stay in shape. Freshman Maggie Fleig. Magdalena. She spent her season running the sprints and the sprint relays, but I think she found her niche when she ran a leg of the 4x8 at the Potosi freshman meet. She's still apprehensive about these longer distance, but her speed coupled with a better base should be the formula for success. Sophomore, Allie Giesler. Another hard-working sprinter. She saw time in the 100-meter, the 200, as well as 3 of the relays. Allie seems to have found an event that suits her speed and her work ethic in the 400 and the mile relay. Her passion for the sport, her work ethic, and desire is certainly a recipe for success. Junior, Morgan Greither. Morgan dedicated herself to the sport this season. Morning practices, weekend long runs, tremendous effort and practice were a welcome sight. Morgan earned all conference honors in the 800-meter, the 1600-meter, and the 4x8. She ran an impressive 2:22 split at the district meet and nearly got beat. She didn't quite reach her goals, but she's gone back to work more determined than ever. Junior Brittany Gross. Like most of the distance crew, Brittany was a common face in the morning. Primarily a mile and 2-miler, Brittany earned PRs of 6:16 in the mile and 13:52 in the 2-mile. Junior Megan Herman. Another part of the throws crew. Megan, you earned all conference honors. Did you know that? You earned all conference in the discus with your throw at the district meet of 107 feet. Her top mark in the shot put this season was 30 feet 8 inches. Megan's poised for an even better senior season. Junior Molly Hook. AKA Pearl. Anybody else? Injury and frustration have plagued Molly's running career since she joined the, quote, dark side. A credit to her character, she continues on the right course and will be rewarded with her, as I like to call it, day in the sun. Still, with her setbacks, Molly was able to earn all conference honors in the 3,200 meter relay this season. Junior Rachel Hook. Another broken one. Like Molly, Rachel had some injuries and frustrations this season as well. A strained hip adductor had sidelined her since the old settlement meet, but not before she earned all conference honors in the 3,200 meter run with a time of 12:07. Undeterred by her setback, Rachel is determined as ever for our upcoming fall season. Sophomore Monica Inman. Monica's a versatile athlete who runs the 2 and the 4. This season PRs include a 65 flat in the 400 and a 29.3 in the 200. Her true passion lies in the pole vault, where her season's best was 9 feet. Monica spent the last 3 weeks of the season with the middle distance runners and proved to herself that she can handle it. I can't hide behind you if you're way over there. I hope this is a glimpse of what the future holds for Monica. Sophomore, Sarah K. Joggers. Sarah spent the season with the distance crew as well, specializing in the 800 meter. Setbacks had her sidelined for a couple of weeks, but still she ran a PR of 3:10 in the 800 and 7:53 in the 1600. She also kept us laughing or smiling with her bubbly demeanor. Freshman, Kayla Kreitler. Another promising young hurdler, she achieved PRs of 19.5 in the 100-meter hurdles and 57.3 in the 300 hurdles. Like most of the kids on the team, Kayla's a real hard worker, and she'll be a big contributor in the future. Kayla Keene. Abby Foff. Abby's a junior, by the way. Another distance girl. She's also a common sight in our morning runs. She earned PRs of 6:20 in the mile and 14:02 in the 3,200. Before too many irons in the fire caused her to reprioritize, Abby made the right choice, putting academics first, but since has regained her dedication as a distance runner. Sophomore Mackenzie Roth. I think Mackenzie's reasons for running track were fitness, but she's also a pretty good triple jumper. She was good enough to earn a couple of medals this season and a PR of 29 feet 9 inches in the triple jump. I look forward to seeing what the future holds for Mackenzie. Freshman Steph Smith. Steph's a talented youngster who could have a bright future in track. She ran the 100, the 100-meter hurdles, the 200, the 300-meter hurdles, the 400, the 4x4, and the high jump. She could be on the verge of great things as a track athlete. She's versatile and athletic, as her 4.11 high jump would indicate. Her future could be very bright. Freshman, Caitlin Slakowski. When I say bright about Caitlin, it's both her intelligence and her future. She's a distance runner. Her PRs this season were 2:47 in the 800 and 6:18 in the 1600. She also was coerced into running the 2-mile, 14:31. She has an efficient stride and shows real potential as a trackster. Freshman Kendall Sokowski. Like her sister, she spent the season with the distance runners, PRs of 2:53 in the 800, 6:27 in the 1600. Leg problems hampered her training, but she remained focused and gave it all she had. These twins are a pleasure to be around and to coach. Freshman, Brandy Sutton. Another promising freshman. Brandy ran the sprints, the sprint relays, and the 400. Her season best was 65.8 in the 400 and 28.6 in the 200. As her work ethic got better, so did her times. Junior, Danielle Uding. Another sprinter and sprint relay girl. This season's PRs were 14.2 in the 100, 29.3 in the 200. Her work ethic and good handoffs earned her several spots on the relays. Junior, Olivia Uding. Like her sister, she was a sprinter and a sprint relay member, also good with the handoffs, had decent speeds, earned her a spot in those relays. She's also a pretty good triple jumper whose season's best was 28.9 inches. I look forward to having these sisters back for their senior season. Junior, Jamie Viox. I'm not sure, but I think Jamie came out to track to improve her speed on the base paths for softball and also to improve her fitness level. I'm sure she achieved both while in the process impressing me as a hard worker and a pleasure to coach. Sophomore, Shelby Werner. Shelby's a dedicated distance runner whose dedication didn't go unrewarded. Today, while we were doing a mile time trial, on the third lap, she stopped her sandwich. And a popsicle. She also earned all conference honors in the 800 meter, the 1600 meter run, the 3200 meter relay, and the 3200 meter run. She earned all district honors in the 3200 meter run and is advancing to the state meet in the same event. Her season's PRs include 227 in the 800, 529 in the 1600, 1136 in the 3200. Her training and confidence are at a season's high, and Shelby is poised for a great race at the state meet. Freshman Ashlyn Wilson. Yet another promising young freshman. Ashlyn was called into service on the varsity 4x8 due to her dedication and her work ethic. She earned all conference hours and honors in the same event. Ashlyn also ran the 300 hurdles with a PR of 57.2. She ran the 1600 meter run with a PR of 603. I look forward to Ashlyn's contributions in the future. Junior, Katarina Yunt. Freshman, Reagan Zerwig. Probably had a softball game tonight. Senior, Becky Callahan. Becky was a part of the distance crew looking for that coveted spot on the 4x800 meter relay. Her 800 meter season's best was in the low 240s. Becky's been a 4-year member of the team and contributed in the following events: 100 meter, the 200 meter, the 400 meter, the 800 meter, the 1600 meter, the 4x800 meter relay, the 4x4 relay, and the triple jump. Her efforts have not gone unnoticed, and as she departs from the team, I extend my best wishes for her future. Senior, Jessica LaRose. This was Jess's first season on the team, and I think we both wish she had started as a freshman. Jess has a great attitude and work ethic along with an infectious personality. I wish I had the time to get to know her better, but I'm thankful for the season she was part of, and I wish her much success as she embarks on her next chapter. She was a thrower for us, by the way. Senior, Sarah Stiegel. Sometimes athletes come along that make their mark quietly. Sarah was this type of individual. She earned my respect with an impressive work ethic and a positive attitude. She was a leader by example, and the smart youngsters noticed and followed. Over her 4-year career, her personal records include 13.7 in the 100 meters, 28 flat in the 2, 62.8 in the 400, and a 15-foot 9-inch long jump. With the accolades aside, what I'll miss most about Sarah is her character. She's a fine young lady who's intelligent, hardworking, respectful, and honest, to mention just a few of her character traits. She will be missed, and I wish her the best. Senior, Candace Burr. Candace has had a great career as a St. John track athlete. She's earned numerous all-conference and all-district honors. This season began with the quest for the elusive all-state honor. Unfortunately, injury plagued her senior season. An untimely lesson is never easy, but she learned life isn't easy, and it isn't always fair. In spite of setbacks, Candace still earned all-conference honors in the triple jump, the 300-meter hurdles, and the 3,200-meter relay. Who would have thought Candace would run an 800? More impressive is her career records. Candace is the second fastest 300-meter hurdler in school history. You didn't know that, did you? The 5th fastest 200-meter runner in school history. The 3rd best triple jumper in school history. And she's tied for 2nd in the 100-meter school history. Like I said, Candace has had a great career as a St. John athlete. It didn't end the way we wanted it to, but she'll be missed, and I extend my best wishes to Candace. Now, Coach Toombs is going to go through the boys, and when we finish up, because this is one big team, really, when we finish up, we'll give our team awards. Girls, go ahead and have a seat.
All right, good evening. I also want to thank you guys for all being here. I'm not going to go through all the thank yous. Coach Jett did that mostly, but I do want to thank our coaching staff for everything that they do. I, of course, believe we have the best coaching staff in the entire area, from Coach Thompson, Coach Keeker, Coach Jett, of course, myself, Coach Sherry, Coach Werner, Coach Walken, Coach Boyd. And I also believe we have the best athletic director in the entire area, so I really want to thank you guys for that. And parents, I know everything that you go through to make sure your kids get to practice, to get them picked up if they don't drive, or to get them rides to and from. And again, to you athletes, for everything you do for us, because as all the coaches have said, we all believe we have the best athletes in the area, and I think we're all right. You know, Coach Jett said we go to many meets and we hear coaches talk about how they struggle to get their kids to do what they want them to do. They struggle to get them to practice every day. We don't deal with that, and that's a product of you parents raising the kids that you have raised, and you athletes listening and dealing with us some days where we're not on our best, and putting it out there every day. I have a few things I want to talk about. This season for the boys track team, again, we knew it would be a bit of a rebuilding year. I'm going to list some names for you. Jacob Kent, Ethan Bosler, Josh Pinkley, Michael Robinson, Nick Whittu, Evan Weiler, Ryan Oberly, all graduated last year. Last year we were 4th in districts, scoring 72 points. 65% of them graduated, 65 points. From all the meets combined last year, 76% of the total points we scored all year graduated. I knew it was going to be an awesome year for young kids to get many, many opportunities. I began each year asking the boys track team, let's set some team goals. Some of the goals we had were to be in the top 1/3 of every meet. We accomplished that. We had a goal to finish in the top 3 in conference. We were 3rd. We had a goal to send multiple athletes to the state meet. Unfortunately, we didn't meet that goal. The only athlete we have is going is Tyler in the 3,200. But I know this group of guys will not allow that to call our season a failure. In my 16 years of coaching track, this has been one of the most enjoyable I've had, if not the most enjoyable. Every day, the guys came to work hard and achieve up to their capabilities, even though many of them had no clue what capabilities they had. We had many successes, especially at the JV level. We were definitely young. We started the season winning the Glasstown Classic, hosted by Crystal City. The JV team won the JV North County Invitational, the JV Conference, and our home JV Invitational. Every day, the entire group worked hard to get better. I relied on the older athletes not to just help the JV, but also the middle school athletes every day, and I didn't even have to ask them to do that. They knew what it meant to be a St. John High School track athlete. At this time, I'm going to call up the guys, and Coach Thompson will give you your certificates and all. I'm going to do it a little bit different than Coach Jett. It's not going to be completely alphabetical. First, we have freshman Joe Allen. Joe's a tremendous athlete with tons of potential. He's a key part of our 4x4 relay as well as running the open 400. He also is a great long jumper and even talked him into running the 800 on the 4x8 relay, in which he earned himself a spot as a 4x8 alternate at the district meet and sectionals. I look forward to seeing what Joe can do in his next 3 years of track. Josh Bierman, freshman. Freshman Chris Davis. I don't think Chris is here. All right. Freshman Blake Engel. Blake is a distance runner for Coach Jett. I'm not sure Blake really wanted to run distance at the beginning of the year, but I believe it's where he was best suited. He was a key member of the JV 4x8 relay and was also a 110 hurdler. For those that don't know the order of events, those are actually back-to-back with only the girls' 100-meter hurdles in between them. So many times after he finished his 4x8, he'd do a little cool down and had to walk straight to the bullpen to get ready for the 110 hurdles. I believe Blake will continue to grow to become a good hurdler and distance runner. Freshman Luke Gettinger. Luke's another kid with lots of potential and is extremely coachable. He began the season with a slight injury to his quad and worked his way through that injury to become one of the guys I counted on as part of the JV sprint relays and even on the varsity sprint relays occasionally. He too will be a tremendous asset to the program as he gets older. Max Hernandez. I don't think Max was here. Freshman Brandon LaRose. Brandon's another one of those athletes who ran mostly sprints and sprint relays and even was a varsity triple jumper for a while. He's the potential to be a great triple jumper in the future if he continues to work at it. He also had to deal with some hip issues late in the season, but was still at practice working hard every day even though his season was over. He too will be a tremendous asset in the future. Freshman Andrew Nagger. Freshman Travis Operly. Travis is another distance runner for Coach Jett. He began the season spending a lot of time on the elliptical and the bike with shin issues. After getting healthy, he became a key member of the, again, JV 4x8. He ran everything from the 800 to the 2-mile and even triple jumped at the Potosi freshman meet. He has decided to run cross country in the fall, so I'm sure he's going to put in lots of miles this summer and continue to improve. Freshman John Schilly. John's another young distance runner for Coach Jett. He's also a key member of that JV 4x8 relay, ran the 800, the mile, and the 2-mile. His specific focus was the mile. He worked hard every meet to continue to lower his time. He even volunteered to throw shot and disc at the Potosi freshman meet just to try to gain more points for his team. Freshman Jonas Schwent. Jonas is an athlete that has run cross country, and of course at the beginning of the year I was assuming, okay, he's going to be with the distance runners. Then one of the first sprint workouts, he was near the top of the group. Little did I know Jonas has speed. Jonas became a varsity hurdler early in the season and never looked back. He did spend some time running on some of the sprint relays, but his passion was the hurdles. He turned himself into a great hurdler as a freshman. Jonas got 8th place in the 300 hurdles at the district meet in one of the toughest, if not the toughest district in the state. I see a bright future for Jonas in the hurdles. Sophomore Brendan Dallas. Brendan made a decision to come back out this year after not doing track his freshman year. He was a very good runner during middle school, and I was extremely excited when he decided to run again this year. He has a tremendous work ethic and desires to improve his quickness and speed. He ran on most of the varsity sprint relays at some point in the year and was a fixture on the varsity 4x4. Brendan also high jumped and even long jumped at some point this year. He has untapped potential in both the 200 and the 400 and ran the second fastest split in the 4x4 this year. He will be a key member of this program as he continues to get older. Sophomore Matt Drury. Matt might be one of the most competitive athletes I've ever had the opportunity to coach. He reminds me a lot of Jacob Kent. Each meet, if he didn't improve his time, he was ready to beat himself up. Matt had never done track before. I think the constant prodding from Brendan and Clayton Nagger finally convinced him to give it a try, if for nothing else but to shut him up. He quickly found out he could be pretty good. Matt ran everything from the 100 to the 800, and yes, I did say I got him to run the 800 once. He did really well, just as Joe had done. Matt also periodically triple jumped. His best event, though, was the 400 and the 4x4 relay, and again, he had the fastest time in both the open and the 4x4 split. A little quick story about Matt's 400. Early this season at the North County JV meet, Matt got second in the 400, and he hated getting second. And I think part of the reason he hated getting second is he was second to a runner from a rival school. I'm just going to say a really close rival school. And I believe Matt's pretty good friends with the athlete that beat him from that school. But he continued every day to continue to work and hope to get the opportunity to race him again. JV conference, guess who was in the 400? Matt and this other athlete. Needless to say, it wasn't going to happen again. Matt was the JV conference champ in the 400, with this runner finishing right behind him, and he will be a tremendous part of this program in the future. Sophomore, Tayon Fleeg. Tayon was a thrower for Coach Thompson. He threw both the shot and discus at different times this year. The difficult thing for the throwers is there's only 2 events for them to try to get the opportunity all year, and that can sometimes be really difficult depending on the number of throwers. He did his best and worked really hard to improve throughout the season. I know he's going to continue to lift and work hard in the off-season for both track and football. Wyatt Fleeg. Wyatt was also a thrower for Coach Thompson. He threw both the shot and discus at JV meets. He's probably best known this track season for his bets with Luke Hemmerle in the open races. I believe his first race in the 400 that they had was for a bag of Oreos. He also ran the mile for some other food item. I'm not sure what it was. Double stuffed Oreos? Okay. Unfortunately, I think he came out on the short end of those both times. I'm sure that these, way I understand it, were almost always conjured up in Mr. Werner's classroom. But I know he also will continue to lift really hard and become stronger by next year. Sophomore Luke Hemmerle. Another young thrower for Coach Thompson, threw in most JV meets, both the shot and the disc. Like I said, he also ran the 400 and the mile against Wyatt. He continued to get better as the season progressed, especially in the discus where he threw over 107 feet. He will continue to get stronger and quicker throughout different sports seasons, and I know he will have tremendous success in the future. Sophomore Andrew Moore, Beebs. Beebs is a tremendous distance runner. He was a good runner as a freshman, but that wasn't good enough for him. He wanted to be better. He worked hard putting in miles during the summer, had a really good cross-country season. During the winter, he again began putting in miles to be ready for track season. It all paid off for him when he set the JV record in the 2-mile this year, qualified for the sectional meet in the 2-mile, and was all-conference in the 2-mile, the 800, and the 4x8 relay. He battled the tight IT band during the last part of the season, but was still a vital part of the varsity 4x8 that got 5th in our sectional, nearly making it to state. He has a tremendous future in the track program as well as the cross-country program. Sophomore Clayton Nagger. Clayton was a key member of the varsity sprint relays as well as the open 100, 200, and long jump. He's the JV conference champ in the 100, qualified for the finals of the 100 at districts, was the anchor of our 4x1 relay that qualified for sectionals, and they don't know this, but they also are on the all-time top 5 list for the 4x1 relay in school history. He has tremendous speed and will even get faster as he gets older and works on his posture in the 100. He's a leader in the workouts, will be counted on in the future. He's a powerful runner with explosiveness out of the blocks. Once he learns to maintain the top end speed, he could easily see himself at the state games in the future. Junior Josh Doggett. Dogier. Josh is a distance runner for Coach Jett. He's a vital part of the varsity 4x8 relay, where he was all conference, ran the open 800 in most meets. Like all of Coach Jett's varsity distance runners, he comes in every morning at 6 a.m. to get in his mileage, and sometimes during the season, even to do the workouts in the mornings when it's cooler. His dedication is what has made Josh a good runner. He isn't blessed with tremendous speed, but has worked to get where he is. He will be a runner that will be counted on during his senior year next year in multiple events and in the cross-country program. Junior Joe Hayes. Joe is another thrower for Coach Thompson. He had the opportunity to throw mostly the discus. He did throw the shot a couple of times, but I believe prefers the disc. He has a great form in the disc and will be one of the guys battling out next year for the opportunity to throw at the varsity meets. If he gets in the weight room, works on his quickness, he will easily continue to improve. Junior Gabe Meyer. Gabe's my varsity jump specialist. He's a long, triple, and high jumper in most all varsity meets. He became all-conference in the long jump during the district meet. He jumped over 20 feet, but ended up 5th, one place from qualifying for sectionals. Even more heartbreaking was that he was tied for 4th in the high jump at districts. Had to have a jump off to decide who was going to move on to sectionals. Again, he came up just short, getting 5th. Gabe will continue to work hard in the jumps, and I'm sure there are going to be more opportunities for him next year. Junior Kyle Nicholson. Kyle is another thrower for Coach Thompson, whose specialty is the shot. He didn't have as many opportunities as others because of some meets he had to miss, so Coach Thompson and I decided, let's let him throw at districts. He works extremely hard, and even though he might not have had one of the top 2 throws for the season, and it was definitely one of the right things to do, as Kyle threw a PR, went over 40 feet for the first time in his track career. He works tremendously hard in the weight room, and he wants to get stronger and quicker for both track season and for football season next year. Junior Jacob Pinkley. Jacob is another distance runner for Coach Jett. He's a vital part of that varsity 4x8 relay where he was all-conference, as well as being all-conference in the 3200 and 800. Jacob also came in the mornings at 6 a.m. for mileage or workouts. He is tremendously dedicated to running. Though Jacob sometimes overthinks his running, he has tremendous potential for next year's cross and track seasons. When we're trying to place high in the conference meet, and as high as possible, Jacob volunteered to pole vault. Not only did he just volunteer to pole vault, he ended up getting 5th in the conference. He ended the season as also a member of the 4x4 relay. Jacob, I know, will train all summer because he has terrific work ethics, and he has a terrific senior year waiting for him. Junior Alan Rayfield. Alan was a thrower for Coach Thompson, whose specialty was the discus. He's a technician at the discus. His form is nearly flawless. I've had more than one coach come up to me and say, that disc throw you have is so fluid. He is a quiet leader in the throws. He doesn't get riled up about much. He does his job, and he does it well. He also had an opportunity to throw the shot this year, throwing it over 40 feet. Again, his passion is the discus, getting 3rd in the conference with a throw over 130 feet. He will continue to get better and stronger in the offseason, and he will definitely be one of the returning top discus throwers in the area next year. Junior Cole Reynolds. Cole is a distance runner for Coach Jett, who has to battle some breathing issues. Wasn't supposed to run anything further than an 800. Problem is, he didn't tell any of the coaches that. So it had a couple meets where he ran a little further than that, but he was an 800 specialist, running on the 4x8 a couple of times, also ran on the 4x4 relay. He's always smiling or laughing. He's great to be around, whether it's giving everything he has in the workout that Coach Jett has, or having himself wrapped around Luke Hemmerle and pinning him to the turf. Cole works hard and is truly a valuable part of the team. Junior Tyson Roth. Tyson's a first-time track athlete. I watched Tyson during the weight meet we hosted prior to the track season and said, hey, have you ever thought about running track? He said, not really. I said, you should think about it. He said, all right, I'll think about it. About 3 days into the season, he came to me and he said, is it too late? And I said, no, it's not too late, and he came out that day. Tyson's one of the most coachable kids I've ever been around. One day during a hill workout, he'll probably remember this, I spoke to the kids early before they started about their hip tilt, which allows their hip flexors to come up underneath them to make them a little bit faster as sprinters, and that they should really work on concentrating to have that happen so they can become quicker. During the workout, I noticed that Tyson started falling behind some of the other guys that he had normally been running with. As he got closer, he had that look on his face. I could tell something was wrong. I stopped and I said, okay, Tyson, what's hurting? He said, nothing. He kind of looked at me real strange. I said, well, you're starting to fall behind the other guys and you look like something's wrong. He said, Coach, he told us to concentrate on our hip tilt, and if we did, we would become faster. I'm making sure every hill, my hips are where they're supposed to be. That is Tyson Roth in a nutshell. He became a vital part of our varsity sprint relays, was a part of that 4x1 team that not only made it to sectionals, but is on the top 5 all-time St. John High School track list. His work ethic will make him a tremendous asset to any program that he's in. Junior Ethan Shrimp. Ethan's season was cut short by a back injury. Although he didn't get much opportunity to run, he was always one of the first to step up and help whenever we needed it. He became the ruler of the jump pits. Ethan can make a sand pit look as smooth as a lake when there's no wind. I hope he has the opportunity to get healthy next year and have a good senior year. Junior Tyler Urich. Tyler is an outstanding distance runner for Coach Jett. He's the anchor of our 4x8 relay team that was 5th at sectionals, just missing an opportunity to go to state. He was all conference in the 800, the 1600, the 3200, and the 4x8 relay. He was the MAAA conference champion in the 3200, an event that he has also qualified for the state games this coming weekend at Jeff City. He's a talented runner with something many distances have to work hard to have, and that is speed. He has the ability to run nearly anyone down at the end of the race. At the sectional meet in the 4x8, Tyler got the baton in 7th place. Knowing he needed to get to the top 4, Tyler went to work, as Coach Jett says it. He finished the first lap and began to reel in some of the other teams. He didn't have quite enough to reel in the 4th, but we did get 5th by barely a half of a second. Tyler had run a 2 flat. Tyler is such a dedicated student athlete. He too is in every morning at 6 a.m. He will run all summer with the other guys and be ready for a terrific cross and track season next year, and we can't wait to watch him run this weekend at the state in Jeff City. Junior Stephen Wilson. Our seniors, senior Jacob Sutton. Jacob came out this year for the first time. He was a thrower for Coach Thompson. His best event was the shot, but he also threw the discus. He didn't get a whole lot of opportunities to throw because, again, with the throwers you have 2 events, and there were many others ahead of him, but he did work hard to learn each and every implement and helped us out anytime we needed it at any of our home meets. Senior Michael Finley. Michael's one of those athletes who will be missed in the program. He didn't come out until his junior year, but would do anything a coach asked of him. He ran the 300 hurdles, the 4x4 relay, the 200, long jump, threw the shot in the disc, from leaving skin on the track at Potosi to throwing over 120 feet in the discus at the district meet. Michael gave everything he had every day. He is what this program is all about: hard work, positive attitude. Michael, it's been a great ride. Senior Logan Giesler. Logan's another one of those athletes that didn't come out till his junior year. He was a tremendous part of our sprint program. Though he daily dealt with sore shins, he worked every day to be the best sprinter he could be. Many times I found it funny looking down the home stretch, watching the 100 runners get in the blocks, and you watch this huge dude getting in the blocks, and he's in the fast heat. Logan can roll. He isn't the fastest guy out of the blocks, but he has tremendous top-end speed. He was a vital part of that 4x1 relay that not only made it to sectionals, but one of the top 5 4x1 teams in school history. He's made a tremendous impression on the track program, and he'll be missed in the sprints next year. It's going to be really, really tough for one of the youngsters to fill such a huge gap in the sprints. Logan, it's been a pleasure, buddy. And that leaves senior David Karen. David's one of those athletes any coach hopes comes around at least once every 10 years. Not because of his athletic prowess, though David always gave his very best. Not because of his leadership, though he is definitely our best leader. It's because of David the person. David's the first to arrive and the last to leave. He's the only 4-year boy track athlete this year. He can always be counted on to do anything we ask of him. He was a hybrid this year. He was our best shot thrower, something he's done all 4 years. But this year, David worked his way into the varsity 4x1. Yes, that same relay that qualified for sectionals and one of the top 5 fastest in school history. A relay with 2 throwers. We were better than 13 of the other 4x1 relay teams in our district. David's leadership to make sure everything is cleaned up around our site at every away meet, to be the last one sticking around at the home meets, to see what else needs to be done will be truly missed. He's the epitome of St. John track, willing to work harder, give everything, stay humble, congratulate others, and strive to be even better tomorrow. David Karen is St. Genevieve track. And this is the 2012 boys track team. So at this time, guys, you can sit and Coach Jett and I'll give out the awards.
Okay, first I'd like to salute all the athletes and challenge you to keep working hard. And I would certainly be remiss if I didn't call up our managers, first manager, and we had quite a number of them, and they're like having another coach most of the time, Amanda Berger. It's odd, she rarely missed practice. Smith Jacobs. Smith helped us out a lot this year. He was one of the last ones to go home, helping make sure everything was put away after our home meets. Real assets to the program. Kelsey Gettinger. You may wonder what managers do. Their task range from writing down times for me to fetching this out of the coach's office or that out of the track closet or running things up to the press box. They're invaluable, and we appreciate each and every one of them. Ashley Fleeg. Seems like Ashley's been with us for a while. I'm pretty sure this is her 4th year. Third year? Okay. You really wore on us. You helped us a lot, Ashley, and I appreciate it. Anna Heinzman. And Jordan Upchurch. Okay, go ahead and have a seat, and I'll give our girls track awards. We'll start with the medals. These are awards that are voted on by the athletes. The first one is the outstanding relay runner, as his name would imply. Really made an impact on our relays. This year's award recipient, Morgan Greither. Outstanding distance runner. Work ethic and accomplishment equals Shelby Werner. The next medal would be outstanding sprinter hurdler. We had a tie this year. We got one of each. Sarah Stiegel, Candace Burr. Most improved, Ashlyn Wilson. This last medal is the Hustle Award. This is a tough one for anybody to win because we really expect a lot from our athletes. Matter of fact, we demand it. And I've, on more than one occasion, pointed to the gate and said, get out, because they weren't given enough. So they all work real hard, and we had a tie on our Hustle Award this year. Sarah Stiegel and Shelby Werner. The next two are plaques. The first one's the Outstanding Field Event Athlete. This young lady's had a fine career here at St. Genevieve. She's got her name on the records in a number of places, Miss Candace Burr. I can't say enough good things about this youngster who won our Outstanding Track Event Athlete. She's poised for great things this weekend. Shelby Werner. Just stay on up here, guys.
And for the boys track awards, first the medals. This year's Outstanding Relay Runner, again, this is voted on by the athletes themselves. Outstanding Relay Runner, Logan Giesler. This year's Outstanding Distance Runner, and we have some outstanding distance runners, but this wasn't even close in the voting. Outstanding Distance Runner, Tyler Urich. Outstanding Sprinter Hurdler. Again, this one wasn't even close. Outstanding Sprinter Hurdler, Clayton Nagger. The next two medals, Most Improved in Hustle Award. You know, I pride myself in the fact, like Coach Jed said, that any of our athletes could get this. In fact, on the Most Improved, we have like 33 boys, I think, in the program. We had 16 different names written on the ballots, which says a lot about this program. The Most Improved was an actual tie, a tie from two gentlemen who, if you watch them every day, you will see why they have gained so much in one short year. The Most Improved was Josh Doggett and Beebs, Andrew Moore.
Leave that shirt on, Beebs. Leave it on.
And the Hustle Award, again, could go to any number of our athletes. You know, I don't think there's any wrong answer that any name could have been written here. I think there were 13 different names written down. It also ended in a tie. I didn't feel like breaking the tie because they both truly deserved it. This year's Hustle Award goes to Matt Drury and David Karen. Thank you all. Oh, hey, I got two more, sorry. Almost forgot to give the plaques. They were at the top of my sheet and I skipped over them. Huh? Oh yeah, we'll do that too. Outstanding Field Event Athlete. I don't know how I could not give this one out. There were a couple of names written down, but easily one more than any other. Outstanding Field Event Athlete. I told you he did the long jump, the triple jump, and the high jump. Just missed out going to sectionals in both the high jump and the long jump, Gabe Meyer. And the Outstanding Track Athlete did lots of things on the track, even mentioned he has some speed. It would have been fun to even watch him in the 200 just to see what he could do. Outstanding Track Athlete, Tyler Urich. I do have one more really small thing for all 70 of you that are here. Tomorrow, 8:30, because we hosted sectionals, we didn't get a chance to put everything up. Hurdles, high jump, pole vault pads, everything. Everything. 8:30 tomorrow. We really, really need you all there to help us so it's not just your fat old coaches doing it. Husky, sorry.
Okay, they wanted me to wait before I continued on. They have the coaches' gifts to give really quick. I guess they're going to get them. Oh, you want to pick it? In case this person doesn't find it, you can pick the backup ticket. I'll switch it around. Oh, you're going to talk?
What are you going to talk about?
This year, Coach Thompson had to put up with a lot of us, and it was very stressful for him. So a lot of times he talked about his vacation this summer, and we overheard him say that he needed to get himself a new pair of thongs. Well, we went shopping, and we didn't know which type of thong he meant, so we got him both. For Coach Toombs, a lot of the jumpers always complain to him that they cannot find the chalk to mark their lines for their steps, so we made sure that he had some he could give to them. And being a great motivator, he's always yelling across the field. So we got him the best type of megaphone we could find. And just in case he loses his voice, another great way to get our attention. Now, in all seriousness, we also got them some very serious gifts. We got one for each of the coaches. This also goes to the girls' coaches. So if Coach Toombs could hold it up. It is actually a block of marble etched onto it with an SG, either boys or girls track and field, and their name, just so that they remember what a great year we had this year and how much they meant to us. Thank you.
Okay, great to see a banquet go like this, where you have such a tight bond between coaches and athletes, and even sometimes coaches and parents and so forth. And it's really what St. John Sports are all about, and why we meet here at the end of every season. So again, thank you for coming. I've got just a couple of things before you take off. Award winners. We usually have you guys stick around, maybe over by the a la carte. Not sure if they need you tonight or not, but just in case, stick around, award winners, and make sure if they need you to take pictures, even parents, that you stick around, don't take off quite yet. And 50-50. As I've announced at the past couple of sports banquets, our sports boosters, they do things time after time that's always for the best interest of kids. But they decided to start taking the 50-50 money from the banquets and donating that toward a senior scholarship. And this year, we awarded our first senior scholarship from the All Sports Boosters to one senior boy and one senior girl. And it was a great idea. We're going to continue to do that. And that's where the 50-50 money for these banquets are going to go. And the 50-50 amount for this banquet is $121. It's a big one. The winning ticket for $121, please bring your ticket with you, is number 491512. Must be present to win. 491512. Anybody? Claire. Clarice. All right. I don't trust Claire. You better show me that ticket. No, I think Claire's pretty good. Or maybe she was just getting up to use the restroom, no? Oh, okay. Mom made her come up. Okay, congratulations, Claire. Or Linda, I guess. I trust you. Thank you. There you go. You want that, don't you? All right. Again, guys, drive safely. Thank you for another great banquet. See you guys next year. One more announcement if you guys are listening. The St. Club are selling raffle tickets to Cardinal. I've sat in these seats before. Outstanding seats. Basketball players. 4 field box seats to a Cardinals-Dodgers game July 23rd.